week. Now, Sleeves, we've reached the midway point of the 2025 season and just finished an exciting weekend of great pickleball action. Lots of great teams played well, but I think weekend number 3 will be forever known as the weekend of Naples.
Yeah, 4-0. You and I talked last time about them sort of waking up and they had too much talent on that roster not to start making a move. And boom, holy cow, they came to play.
Yep, that's exactly right. Naples, JBD United started the season 1-7, made some adjustments in the lineups, and ended up as the only undefeated team in weekend number 3, going 4-0 and holding up that big check at the end of the weekend.
Yeah, fantastic. Wow. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I think you continue the run here, obviously, maybe building some momentum towards the playoffs.
I think that could be the case. It goes to show in the NPL, it's not just talent alone. Now, everybody in the NPL has highest level of senior pickleball talent, but it takes strategy, attitude, determination, adjustments to be a successful NPL team. So I want to congratulate Bob Stroman, all the Naples team leaders for never giving up, having a great attitude, making adjustments, and getting themselves back in the mix for a high playoff seeding.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, really came to play. And I know I mentioned last time that the Florida teams were sort of in the basement there, and Naples Naples showed up, and it's fun to see because there is a lot of parity. I think the only thing that seems to be a disadvantage is playing at home.
Yeah, it might be a curse. We might have to discuss the curse of playing at home. All right, 2 weekends in 2 players in weekend number 3 went undefeated. From Naples, Mario Porcelli went 6-0, and from the Austin McKnight, Chip James went 6-0. Now, Chip has an impressive record of 10-2 on the season, so congrats to those 2 guys. But what I wanted to point out was it's interesting that weekend number 1 of the NPL, we had 8 players go undefeated. Weekend number 2, we had 7 players go undefeated. Now, weekend number 3, we only have 2 players go undefeated. Now, to me, it's kind of like a baseball when a hitter can start out the season red hot, run through the teams, and then all of a sudden the scouting report comes out on him, and pitchers know where to adjust and pitch to that player. So it's kind of the same way in NPL. You can come in, start out hot, but then players are going to watch your matches, watch your partners, try and pinpoint some weaknesses, and it becomes very difficult to go undefeated in this league over a weekend.
Yeah, for sure. And this is why they're professionals. They're not playing without intent. They pay attention from week to week. They pay attention from game to game and point to point. And this is why they're in the league, because they make those adjustments. And I think a team like Naples kind of showed what that's all about, because they've got some serious vets on that team.
All right, for weekend number 3, Houston event, as mentioned multiple times, Naples went 4-0 and finished in first place. OKC Punishers continued playing awesome and finished in second place with a 3-1 record. Austin McKnight also finished 3-1, but they had 3 team breaker wins. So that's pretty amazing by itself. Yeah. Anything else jump at you about the Houston event?
Yeah, I guess I was really wrong on Indy. I thought they would have a better showing. But again, it goes to show week in and week out, you don't really know who it could possibly be. Houston, obviously, at home. It seems to be the same thing happened in Denver when they were at home. So,
all right, so for the KC event, top ranked Seattle Tsunami finished first place with a 3-1 record. Now, Sleeves, you predicted Seattle to win this Kansas City event. And that was another prediction that you nailed on the head. I'm going to start calling you Mr. Money in the Bank because most of your predictions so far this year have turned into gold.
Yeah, I got a little lucky there because I didn't realize Rick wasn't going to be there, Witskin. And so they still sort of pulled it out. I think he was at Wimbledon watching his nephew play. So I got a text from him about that. And I was like, uh-oh, that could hurt my little prediction. But obviously it did not. Seattle is deep. And still 3-1 on the weekend.
Yeah, they had Rick gone to watch Ben Shelton play great at Wimbledon, which I'm sure was an awesome experience. Yeah. But they pulled in the ranks of the NPL Super Sub this year, Youssef Bouzidi, Columbus had him as a sub for weekend 2. Seattle had him for weekend 3. I think he went 7-1 both weekends. So he is a dominant player that looking forward to seeing a lot more of him in the National Pickleball League in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. He's sort of like the AJ Kohler of the NPL. He just comes in and wins.
Great player. All right, so weekend number 3, we previewed as contenders or pretenders with Princeton and Columbus. Both played well last
Yeah.
weekend, so I think they made themselves known as contenders. Princeton finished second place with a 3-1 record, and Columbus went 2-2, including a close team breaker loss to Seattle. Boca also finished 2-2. I don't know if you heard it, but I've been specifically told multiple times that we don't give enough respect to the Princeton Bruisers, but they've won big checks the past 2 weekends, and now they've convinced me that they're going to be a contender come October playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you look who's in that lineup, obviously Jose Derisi and Jerry Corder, those people can play ball. And the record shows they are consistently moving up the ranks, had a maybe kind of slow start to the season. But I think what's nice is if your team is building momentum, and that's what it feels like Princeton is doing, and maybe Naples, but it's hard to tell after 1 week. So we'll see.
Yep. Always something to look forward to with the National Pickleball League. All right, Sleeves, that takes care of kind of a weekend number 3 recap. Are you ready to name the highly anticipated Sleeves players of the month for the month of July?
Yeah, I think on the women's side, you got to go with Melissa LeBlanc. Obviously, she went 7-1 for Naples. And as you mentioned, she moved up to Pod 1 to me, and that's impressive, winning 3 out of 4 in Pod 1. Not only playing at a higher level, but having the pressure of being moved up, and then the expectations of we moved you up for a particular reason, and then really coming through and only dropping 1. That's pretty impressive.
About on the men's side.
On the men's side, Jaime Onsins, he's probably the leader of that team. Obviously, huge racket sport background, been in a ton of big events in his entire life. And, he goes 7-1 to lead that squad. And, when you got a guy like that on your team, the rest of the people kind of get inspired and literally going 4-0 and really showing like, yeah, we're a veteran squad and we're going to be here at the end. It's sort of a Naples weekend.
It was all Naples weekend. Enjoy it. Congrats, Melissa and Jaime, for the Sleeves Player of the Month for the month of July. Hey, quick cut in to thank today's episode sponsor, Great Lakes Hyundai of Dublin and Great Lakes Hyundai of Columbus. If you're in the Columbus or Cleveland area or want to shop for a new Hyundai or pre-owned vehicle online, visit our great friends at Great Lakes Auto Group. Hey, also a quick reminder that the National Pickleball League is sponsored by QC Kinetics, the leading clinic for non-surgical therapy for joint pain, muscle pain, and sports-related injuries. QC Kinetics has offices throughout the nation, so schedule your free evaluation today and tell them you were sent by the Hotshots. All right, now as we look at the season standings, Seattle maintains first place with a record of 10-2. Coachella's still in second place with a record of 9-3. Princeton's at third place at 7-5, followed by the Columbus Hotshots at 7-5 in fourth place, and Austin McKnight at 7-5 also. So those are the top 5 teams in the season standings. They're also the only 5 teams with winning records. Sleeves, at this midway point of the season, do you have any other team that you think might deserve to be in that top 5, but just doesn't have the record for it? Or does your power rankings kind of match up with the top 5 in the season standings?
Yeah, I think the top 5 is pretty solidified at this point. That doesn't mean that anything can happen, as we just discussed at length about Naples and Princeton. Princeton can move up into those top 2 spots quite easily, and Naples, if they keep building momentum like this, could start getting into that top 6 and getting into those spots where you get a bye, which is important. So we'll see. But yeah, I think the top 5, I got Seattle, Coachella, Princeton, Columbus, Austin, just like the standings show.
Okay. Yep, that's what I figured. That's sounds good to me. All right, so how about we move on to a next segment, a new segment here on Shots Fired. We're going to call this Deep Cuts. Now, I don't know about you, Sleeves, but my favorite radio stations are the ones that don't just play the hits of a band. They play the deep cuts within the band's album, songs that aren't as well known as the hits, but still great songs.
That's right.
So I'd like to
The
take
B-sides.
deeper cuts. That's right, B-sides. I'd like to take deeper cuts into the rosters of those top four teams and point out some players that we might not have mentioned yet on the podcast. As you know, for a team to win an NPL championship, you need all parts and pods playing well. These players might not be household names yet, but they're very valuable for their team's chances to win an NPL championship.
Yeah,
So
I mean, it
for
goes deep. You cannot obviously win this thing just with your top pod. You have to go way deep, and that's the reason you have drafts, and that's the reason you have draft boards.
Yes, sir. So for top ranked Seattle Tsunami, they have one of my favorite women's players to watch in Natasha Linton. Natasha Linton. Natasha went 7-1 last weekend for Seattle. Natasha, interesting about her, she won the 2024 NPL Combine, got drafted by Seattle, had a good 2024 season, came back and played the 2025 NPL Combine, made it to the winners finals pod of that combine and almost won that combine. She was almost the first back-to-back NPL Combine winner. So that's impressive to me, that some people might not want to put themselves out there once they become an established NPL player, and they don't want to show up against unknown competition for the fear of having a bad showing. But Natasha is mentally tough, she's physically tough, and she's an excellent representative of the National Pickleball League.
Yeah, I mean, that's amazing to put yourself out there, because you could just, like you mentioned, rest on your laurels, but then to go out there and play the combine again, and to get to that spot again where you have a chance to win it again is impressive. I think it shows the importance of the combine. And even for players who are maybe well seasoned, you're out there and you're battling, and it's kind of sort of the preseason to what the NPL season is. And I don't think it's a bad idea to go out and play if you have an opportunity to do that. And plus, you get some looks at some players that you may ultimately end up on your same team.
So for the Coachella Valley Scorpions, they have a couple men's players playing awesome right now with David Katz and Drew Slackham. These two guys each went 5-1 last weekend. I met both of these guys at the NPL Combine this year. Both are from California. And as we know, the state of California has a ton of good pickleball players, but David and Drew have proven themselves to be near the top of that list and worked themselves into solid NPL players.
Yeah, again, I'm very impressed with the people who come through the combine and then come into the league, because you don't necessarily get to play a lot of these people. You play in your groups, and then you come into a combine, you do well there. And that shows an ability to really figure things out and figure them out fast, because you're not playing them week to week. In a combine, it's that day or that weekend, and to figure it out that quick, that shows a different level of learning.
Yes, sir. Now, this is an interesting one. For the number 3 Princeton Bruisers, we have Eric Cutson. Eric's playing great this year, has a record of 10-6 so far on the season. Now, Eric's one of these guys. He turns 50 years old this year, so he's new to senior pickleball. Before the NPL season, he was playing mostly in local New Jersey matches and events. So the Princeton people knew of Eric, but he was pretty much unknown to the rest of the league. So we'll see players like this every season, local players who are just aging into senior pickleball. But I don't care how well you play at your local matches or your local tournaments. It just doesn't compare to the pressure of NPL matches, playing against the best players in the world with fans and your entire team watching you and counting on you for wins. So some players will crumble under this pressure, and some will rise to the occasion. It's great to see a guy like Eric handle the pressure, play well to start the season, become a well-known pickleball name, and be a big reason why the Bruisers are championship contenders.
Yeah, and it also shows the people that are out there drafting these folks do their homework, because you're bringing in people who are coming straight out of a combine and playing in local areas, but you see something in them that maybe other people cannot. I do think it shows a talent for those who are playing the general manager and ownership roles to draft these sort of folks. And they come in and do well.
Now, lastly, for the Columbus Hotshots, we have Catherine Gillis and Laura Thornton. Each went 5-1 last weekend. Two great players, two different backgrounds. Catherine's a former Division I tennis player at West Virginia University and currently playing in her first year in the National Pickleball League. Laura played D1 basketball at California University of Pennsylvania and is in her third year in the NPL. Both of these women are excellent competitors and will be relied on as the Hotshots look to make another strong run in the October playoffs.
Yeah, it's interesting when basketball players do well. My wife is a basketball player, and I think because she has, and one of the women I play with in our group too, who's got a basketball background, they have really good footwork, and it comes pretty natural to them. So I think that's what you see in basketball players is they don't have lazy feet.
That's right. Always shuffling.
Yeah, always moving.
All right, Sleeves, as we wind down this episode, we'll look forward to next episode of Shots Fired, which will feature an NPL Weekend number 4 preview. All the NPL teams will be together for the first time this season in Austin, Texas, and that should make for a very exciting weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see if Austin could do something at home.
That's right. All right, so just a reminder to follow along the action, all the NPL action on Baller TV app, NPL YouTube, pickleballteamleagues.com. Sleeves, anything else you want to talk about today?
Yeah, check out the Senior Pickleball Report. Always reviewing paddles, always interviewing interesting people. So you can go on YouTube and check out my channel. And got a bunch of old interviews with some NPL players and owners and GMs that you can check out too. So check it out on YouTube. Sleeve Senior Pickleball Report.
Yeah, that was my first exposure to Senior Pickleball podcasts, and they were great. Yeah, you get caught up quite a bit on some of the top players in Senior Pickleball, so it's a lot of fun. Sleeves, I appreciate it again. Thanks for joining me today. And what do you have to tell the people at home?
Hey, let's pickle.